NBC News confirming with two sources tonight. The deputy director of the FBI, the number 2 at the Bureau, Dan Bongino, didn't report for work today. And he may be on the verge of quitting altogether after openly clashing in the White House with Attorney General Pam Bondi over her handling of the case. Now, before he got his job, Bongino was making a living doing stuff like this.
I got a big question about the Epstein files. Who's on the Epstein tapes, folks? Who's on those tapes? Who's in those black books? Why have they been hiding it?
Now Bongino is out there in a suit and tie with the FBI director and former fellow podcaster Kash Patel, trying to unwind all that conspiracy stuff. Last week, he was back on Fox promising a new video that would maybe put the story to rest.
There's going to be a disclosure on this coming shortly. We are working through there is video. That is something the public does not.
There's video of him killing himself.
No, not the actual act, but the entire MCC Bay, there was only one camera. There's video that when you look at the video, and we will release, that's what's taken a while on this, we are working on cleaning it up to make sure you have an enhanced, and we're going to give the original so you don't think there were any shenanigans. You're going to see there's no one there but him.
Okay, remember that phrase, gonna give you the original so you don't think there's any shenanigans, right? So sure enough, on Monday, the DOJ released nearly 11 hours of video showing the hallway outside Epstein's cell. That was supposed to prove there were, quote, no shenanigans. But then, as journalist Julie K. Brown noted on our show this week, neither the doors shown there were even Epstein's cell. On top of that, the video was missing 1 minute of recording. Pam Bondi's attempts to explain that missing minute didn't really help convince these suspicious conspiracy theorists.
And the minute missing from the video, we released the video showing definitively the video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide. And what was on that, there was a minute that was off the counter. And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every night, they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999. So every night the video is reset, and every night should have the same minute missing. So we're looking for that video to release that as well, showing that a minute is missing every night. And that's it on Epstein.
Okay, that's it. Done. Now, Bondi had already stepped in it with the Epstein obsesses after promising months ago that his client list was on her desk for review, then saying there was no client list this week. Her explanation of the video gap didn't help. And this report from Wired Magazine today isn't going to help either. An analysis of the metadata from the video shows the footage was modified, likely using the professional editing tool Adobe Premiere Pro. In fact, they add the file appears to have been assembled from at least 2 source clips, saved multiple times, exported, and then uploaded to DOJ's website, where it was presented as raw footage. Now, Wired says there's no evidence the footage was deceptively manipulated. But again, it's not doing wonders for the White House's credibility with precisely the people in their base who are the most skeptical of this kind of thing. And again, that's at the heart of the emerging power struggle in the administration. This isn't some ancillary internet thing, okay? According to the New York Times, it erupted into an angry face-to-face confrontation at the White House on Wednesday when an irate Ms. Bondi accused Mr. Bongino of leaking information in the news media in the presence of FBI Director Kash Patel, the White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, and one of her deputies. A source close to Bongino told NBC News today, Bongino is out of control furious. This destroyed his career. He's threatening to quit and torch Pam unless she's fired. Man, you wouldn't want to be a kettlebell in Dan Bongino's home gym on a day like today. It's a common sentiment in MAGA world today. Remember, Trump openly courted all these people, the sort of deep state conspiracy theorists, right? The voters who believe Trump's shtick, that there's some system of bad guys that's rigged against them by the elites, but he's not one, right? And that these elites patronize child sex trafficking rings, and that Epstein was at the heart of it. And this was a critical part of the MAGA coalition. Like, I honestly think the kinds of folks that are sort of believe this gave him his margin of victory. And today, these people are in rebellion.
This is the most famous pedophile in modern day history. And people are absolutely not going to accept just a memo that was written that says there is no client list.
It's not about just a pedophile ring and all that. This is about who governs us, right? For this to go away, you're going to lose 10% of the MAGA movement. If we lose 10% of the MAGA movement right now, we're going to lose 40 seats in 26.
So we're stupid.
Yeah.
We're the idiots, guys. Just to let you know,
I mean,
we're wasting
look at
time.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point.
That is, like, in all seriousness, that is, I think, what is enraging people right now is it's insulting our intelligence. Like, obviously, the intelligence community is trying to cover it up. Obviously, the Trump administration is trying to cover up. Something changed because they ran on this idea of exposing it all.
Everyone in that world is mad at Bondi and Bongino and Kash Patel right now. But again, I just want to put something out there, something that we've returned to time and time again as you see Donald Trump whispering in the ear of his buddy Jeffrey Epstein as they ogle girls, women. Maybe it's the big guy at the top who has strong feelings about this. Again, you don't have to draw some crazy contorted conspiracy flowchart to try to connect Donald Trump to that guy on your screen talking to him, Jeffrey Epstein. They were friends for years. But right now, the president would really appreciate it if you all just dropped it.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep?
Ken Delaney is an NBC News justice and intelligence correspondent. Brandy Zadrozny is a senior MSNBC reporter. Both of them have followed the Epstein case and the MAGA reaction to the latest obfuscation from the DOJ, and they join me now. Ken, let me start with you. I mean, what we saw happen after that memo was this sort of uprising rebellion in all sorts of sort of precincts of the MAGA coalition, and also not even the MAGA coalition, just generally in social media. That seems to have reached into the very heart of the Trump administration and Justice Department. Tell us what happened today.
Yeah, that's right. And Chris, I should say, this is not the first time we've seen this kind of thing happening. There's been a lot of discontent about, for example, why isn't the Justice Department putting people in prison over Russiagate and things like that? But this is the most passionate, the most explosive issue, this Epstein situation. And what happened was Bongino and Patel, by all accounts, were on the same page. They all worked together with Todd Blanche and Pam Bondi and senior DOJ staff to craft this memo where they agreed that there was no client list, he committed suicide, there was no secret conspiracy theory. And then Bongino saw the reaction and he didn't like it at all. And now it's pushed him to the point where, he, as you said, he didn't show up to work today. We've confirmed that. And he is telling people that he's contemplating resigning. And there's a larger mosaic here. Both Bongino and Patel have been frustrated with Pam Bondi. They meet with her frequently. It goes beyond the Epstein issue. There's just a clash of personalities there. And, to Bondi's credit, although she did stoke the conspiracy theories, and you reported on this before and you mentioned it today with the client list on my desk remark, her people are now saying that she meant the Epstein files were on her desk, not the client list. She could have spent 4 years trying to string along the conspiracy theorists and say that, the files are going to be released any day now. But instead, they decided to get it out, release this memo that says, by the way, this is what investigators have been telling our colleagues who covered this case for years. There is no client list. There's no there. There's no further reason to charge anybody else. But for the Trump Justice Department to say that, knowing there was going to be this kind of blowback, I give them a little credit for that. But Dan Bongino is off the reservation, and there's some indication Kash Patel may be as well, although they're both in different situations. Dan Bongino, we don't know his motivation, but we do know that he made a living as a conspiracy theory podcaster, and he's about to lose the audience that made him a rich man. And there's a moment of truth here. He could leave now and regain that audience if he sticks with this idea that there is no conspiracy theory behind the Epstein affair. He's going to lose that audience. And, Kash Patel will always be the former FBI director when he leaves. And former FBI directors tend to be able to make a lot of money. It's less true about the deputy director. And so Bongino may be considering that scenario right now.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who speaks into a microphone for a living, I'll just say that, seems like an easier job than trying to run the Federal Bureau of Investigation. or be the number 2 there. Just if you're choosing which one's an easier path. Brandy, I want to, to this point here about this is so, there's both the hardcore MAGA folks who are obsessed with this. And then there's, as you move out to people that don't even follow politics that well, but like do kind of know about it, think about it. Here's Laura Loomer, who has her own backstory and has said just wildly offensive and despicable things many times, has engaged in all sorts of conspiracy theories, but she's sort of very close to Donald Trump. We've got, they talk to each other, and here's her today. Kash Patel and Don Bongino should call for Blondie's public resignation today, to save themselves, to also push for full transparency in the Epstein files, giving Blondie courtesy. Oh, she's calling her Blondie. Okay. Giving Blondie courtesy to resign is more than she deserves. Trump should just fire her. Why has this exploded in the way it has as someone who has followed this for a long time?
I have never seen this level of just incredible disarray within the MAGA movement. I mean, you played a little clip of it at the Turning Point USA convention today, the summit today. People were lining up to call Steve Bannon part of the deep state. Someone called Donald Trump part of the deep state now. Like, people are just incensed and looking for a scalp. And, the easiest one for Laura Loomer and for other people that you talk about, besides being blonde, which I take offense to, is the fact that, she came and she really did a humiliating thing for the MAGA folks, which is to give them all binders and leave them at the White House and do this big photo op. And then, once they opened the binders, they realized that was stuff that was all publicly available before. So she humiliated them. And so that's why I think a lot of people right now are really on Dan Bongino's side. Bongino has always been very much one of them. But the problem is, and I've talked to a lot of MAGA folks today, and the problem is let's say Bondie's gone, right? Let's say Trump fires her or she leaves. Then what? What does Bongino do?
Right.
They're still tasked with, they want a scalp. MAGA wants a payday. They've been promised Hillary Clinton was going to be locked up forever. They've been promised Guantanamo Bay. This is their line in the sand. They are not budging.